Hey, it's Tuesday, November 25th, and this is my day off. I'm just hanging out. I just noticed, Aunt, that you posted your wedding video, which is cool. Congratulations. I understand that you and Becca have been married now for a little over a year. Uh, and yeah, it seems bizarre that it's been over a year already, because, yeah, time flies by. Like, I remember when y'all were dating and I mean, had been living together and all that, been together for a while, but I wasn't sure when you all would get married, and now you've been married for a while, so yeah, good for you, congratulations. I don't really have a lot to talk about today, I did have a recent bad episode at the library, probably the worst interaction with a patron that I've ever had at a library. It was this kind of middle-aged woman who I don't know if she's getting her degree in nursing or what. Uh, she's getting some kind of degree, and apparently this is her last semester. And I've seen her in there before. This was Friday, and I'm there at the circulation desk by myself from like 6 to 8. And this lady, I've seen her in there before. She tends to come in. I'm not gonna name names. Not that anyone really watches this anyway. But I figure, hey, I probably shouldn't name names, even though I have her name glued into my head. Unfortunately, not glued, but stamped, I guess. So this lady, she's come in before. She tends to come in and make appointments with the reference librarian, a very specific reference librarian who is way too nice. And she basically sits and gets this librarian to do all her research work for her. And the whole idea of the reference people, they're there to help. They're there to show you how to find information. If you're having problems finding an article, they help you out. They point you in the right direction. That's their job, and they're more than happy to do that. But this lady, from what I can tell, she's kind of abusing uh, the reference library and making them pretty much just sit and do her research for her, which I think is totally insane. And this lady, when she was in before, it was again another Friday, and she was just like, she came up to the desk, and you could tell she automatically had an attitude. She was like huffing and puffing, like sighing about all these books that she had out still that had been, some of them had been declared lost, and some of them were really overdue. And this lady, she had a huge page of overdue books. And she was just like, yes, I turned these books in. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know. Every time I turn a book in, they say I didn't. And I'm like, I was just like, whatever. She wasn't really talking to me. She didn't really have an interaction with me that time. And so roll to this past Friday, and it was the same thing. She came in, she got some help in the reference, and then uh, she came to me and turned in 3 books, and it was really funny, I thought, because these 3 books she turned in just the week before, however long it was before, were books that she was talking about how she had turned in, and she knew she had turned them in. And lo and behold, here she has the books, she's turning them in. They're swans, nothing that big. Uh, and so she turns them in, and then, I let her know what, she asked me what her other fines are, because, this lady has, like, I think almost $300 in fines for overdue things or lost items. And so, I'm very nice. I just explained to her what she has, and she automatically gets an attitude with me and is like, asking, she's like, I already came here to talk to someone about this one book of yours that I, checked out. And, I'm sure I turned it in. How do I know it's not your mistake? And she wasn't like saying generally like, the library's mistake. She was like saying this to me, like, how do I know it's not your mistake? I know I turned this book in. What's wrong with you? And like, I'm not gonna go. I'm not. There was a lot of back and forth. This lady was up here at the desk for at least like a good 20 minutes, and I don't even remember all that was said like exactly because I just know this lady like no matter what I said, nothing worked. I tried to explain to her what she had to do, and I was like, because basically, if you say you've turned in a book, you have to ask someone there, talk to someone, generally a supervisor, and say, look, put a search on this book. Someone go down the stack, see if the book's here. If the book's there, it's our mistake. We'll take it off your record. Chances are it's probably not there, and someone's probably already checked. But anyway, so this is what I explained to the lady, and she didn't like that at all. And she's no matter what I said to her, she was unhappy. And like, I don't know if she expected me to take the fines off. Even if I wanted to, I'm not really authorized to do that. And so the lady just kind of started yelling at me, and like, and I was like, well, some of these aren't even our books. Some of these are for other libraries. And then she got mad at that. She's like, it's none of your business what my other fines are, even though she had. What precipitated me telling her that was she was asking me specifically what the fines were, and I was like, well, not all these are, fines for this library. And so she just got increasingly more nasty, and and it was kind of getting out of hand. Like I was literally like 2 seconds away from, calling security to ask them to escort her out because it got really crazy when another patron came by and needed help, and I was trying to I was the only person there. I was trying to help this other patron because the whole point of circulation, like a lot of times why we don't answer reference questions is because if we spent time doing that, we wouldn't be able to help everyone else. There would be like this huge line of people just waiting to check out books or whatever. And so I was trying to help this girl really quickly. And this crazy lady is like, "Excuse me," and she's like turning around, like shouting at the woman. She's like, "I'm not done here. You're being rude by trying to interrupt." And I was just like, everyone. And then the two patrons started having words with each other. I was like, "Look, I'm only one person here. I'm doing whatever I can." It was really crazy. And so this crazy lady, like we had more words back and forth, and like nothing I could say could ease her mind. I took down her information. I guaranteed her there'd be another search for this book, even though after I told her, I'm like, if you've already talked to someone here, chances are there already has been a search, and even if you turn this book in, there's still going to be a fine. A fine that you're going to have to pay. And she's like, "Oh no, I'm not going to pay anything." Blah blah blah. And apparently this woman's just upset because she won't be able to graduate and get her degree if she has all these fines on her record, and so she's basically just upset about that, and I'm like, I can't really help it that you don't turn your books in. And so I've never really I vent like on this, and I vent to other people about dealings I have with patrons, but with this lady, nothing. And she was just literally sitting here at the counter after I'd given her all the help I could not do anything else for her. I even told her, I'm like, if you want to come back and talk to a supervisor, feel free. They can probably explain more about policy to you than I can, but there's nothing I can do about your fines. And so this lady was still not happy, and so finally I just kind of broke, and I was like, "Look, I cannot hold your hand and make sure you turn your books in on time. You have a whole page of overdue things and things you've not turned in. Chances are, you know, this isn't our mistake, because this apparently is something that happened. I mean, this book that she was complaining about was declared lost over a year ago. So this is something that she just hasn't bothered to deal with until now. So I'm like, this makes no sense. And I was just like, "Look, you need to leave. You need to back up." And she finally did leave, but I was just like, and I told her too, which is I think is really funny. I was like, I don't get paid enough to put up with people like you. And granted, like some of the things I said to her afterwards was probably a little out of line, like telling her I needed to hold her hand or whatever, or I didn't, I couldn't hold her hand and make sure she turned her books in on time. Uh, it probably was not the most professional way for me to behave, but I don't even care. I'm like, if I get written up for this, I don't care. If they want to fire me for this, I don't care. I do not get paid enough to put up with bitches that come up to the desk and just start yelling at me for no reason. And so, that's that. It's kind of funny. It's just, I find this a lot. People come into the library, no matter what problem they have, they automatically, like, whoever's sitting at the desk, they're like, "This is your fault. It's your fault that I have overdue books. It's your fault I can't turn my books in on time. It's your fault there's construction in the library." And I'm just like, "Lady, do you realize I have no power? You're shouting at the wrong person, and if this is overdue items, you need to, like, get off your fucking fat ass." And lady was fat. "Get off your fat ass, get some exercise, bring your books back in on time." It's simple. It's easy. It's not, rocket science or anything. So anyway, it was funny. I talked to some coworkers about it afterwards, and they actually knew exactly what I was talking about. And apparently, this lady's always drama when she comes in. And I guess just working at the library, I'm gonna run into this a lot. I just don't know how well suited I am to deal with these idiots. Like, I'm more than willing to help people out, but if you're gonna come and shout at me for no reason and just be a complete bitch, which it feels really good to say that, bitch, because this lady was a complete bitch, mega bitch. And I hope her funds shouldn't be waived, first of all, because you have books out, you have to pay for those. It's ridiculous. What, you're gonna go like lease a car and then like keep it and say, "Oh no, I turned it in. You can't charge me for this car." I mean, come on, you don't do that. Just because this is a library doesn't mean you can get away with bullshit like that. But anyway, that's the life in the library for Cameron right now. I'm trying to like not let things like that stress me out and just kind of laugh about them because it is kind of funny now, especially just that I was letting this lady get to me. But anyway, I will see you folks later. Happy Thanksgiving.